just brought in. You have the Grassroots Watch. You keep an eye on developments in these places. Now, if you look at this crisis now, trying to tie it to what you just talked about concerning medical facilities in some of these states, are we likely to see a pause in development in Rivers and any other state? You just also talked about Ogun State, where you said, well, the police were actually also culpable in unleashing mayhem in people in that particular state. Are we saying that 2014, so far, January 16th, we haven't witnessed tremendous development in some of these places because of what is playing out?
Well, I was involved in the doctor strike about 2 years ago in Lagos there, when Fashola illegally sacked them and what have you. But I was scared. The facts presented to us by the doctors, that even Lagos State then did not have CT scanner. The one they had was PPP arranged. So if Lagos State with the huge amount could not, then that tells you what is happening. And that is why every bullet attacked, or rubber bullet attacked victim now that is rich will continue to go to Europe or US. You become a living stock. Because when you throw somebody to US emergency and they ask you what happened, say, oh, he was shot by with rubber bullet. So we don't have doctors, consultants. They just look at us as fools. Honestly, that is honestly, that is the frustration I got when I read the whole thing. I watched the whole thing. I look, what are we doing? And I'm telling you today, please let your medical correspondent go around the state. Most states don't have CT scanner. Most states don't have facility for operations. Most states, not in fact, over 80% of the states cannot treat cancer. Even not, they cannot treat cancer. Most cancer are not treated in India, Pakistan, even Afghanistan, for those who can take the risk. But not in Nigeria. So you now ask yourself, and that is why all the parties, they are speaking the same language. Abuse, blackmail, violence. They are not talking. In 1982, that was the first campaign I attended, Adeola's campaign at Ake Palace, Abeokuta. By the time I was leaving the campaign ground, I was more educated. I knew how many schools are going to build. Baba was telling us how many graduates do I expect in the next 3 years, how many teachers are going to bring up in the next 3 years. Today, the parties, either opposition in state or local, they are not talking.
How do we, because as we approach the general elections, you have politicians always do what they do. What about us as citizens? Because now that this is happening in different states, you will definitely have people who will align with Party A or Party B. Whether or not what they think is true is subject to their interpretation. Are we doing enough? Or what should we do to ensure that we don't get caught up in the pawn of these politicians?
I agree. One, the votes must count. And that's why the civil society groups, the genuine ones, not those who have sold their conscience on the basis of political patronage. The genuine one should take voters' education as important. But even when you have voters' education, don't forget too that there's a need for the masses to appreciate that voting is not either you a party A says it's opposition, party B says it's this and that. No, you must ask questions. What are your programs on education? You must be able to tell us the average cost of a student in the university. What is your university going to charge? What will be the minimum cost of malaria care? How are you going to run the refineries? Are you going to centralize the commanding light of the economy? Are you going to socialize the economy? Even in the local government, you must start asking questions. How do you do your budgeting? Are you inviting us? Then let us know what is the amount of each project. What project are you going to execute? So if these questions are not asked, but you also know that it's a conscious policy of government across board to pauperize people.
Really?
Yeah, because I look at the program, the PPP, they are all tied to structural adjustment program. all of them, from Okojo-Iweala to the governors to the commissioner for finance, they are all tied to World Bank and IMF.
Why would they deliberately popularize people?
Good. Don't forget, we are in a global society. I'll give you an instance. When Okonjo, the first time Okonjo came, he was talking of downsizing, downwriting, which automatically means getting workers out. When he started the BPE, he came out and said, look, it's government position to make sure that people get employed gainfully. BPE, all the commonwealths are being sold to their friends and to their fronts. And what is the solution? I mean, what is the repercussion? Workers are being laid off. NNPC laid off, banks laid off, NEPA laid off, all schools are being laid, workers off. So it's a popularization strategy. And that is why they are speaking the same language, which is
the role of the citizens,
yeah,
and the role of the courts in demanding justice from government. How would that work?
Well, court, I'm afraid, court is fast becoming the last hope of the rich man. Why is that? Look at all cases of governors, senators alleged to have stolen money while they are governors in their states. None has been in prison. In fact, some governors are now senators after about 8 years of trial. And it's obvious. If you take a man that sells maybe gold, cigarette to court within 1 year, the man is in jail. But if you take somebody who has stolen billions as governor or senators, you gather 5 sons and you start adjournment.
But in the medical field, some are telling us there's some sort of improvement. Olufemi Ojo says, well, maybe you're talking about 2 years ago, that CT scans and MRIs are all over the place in the country. So they've noted that and they've improved in that respect. That's what he said as a doctor.
Well, I want to believe that if that is okay, but I know that most of them will be PPP. Public practice.
Let me give you the scenario that happened in Kwara State, in Ilorin. You've talked about the police performance in Ogun, and now we see the one going on in Rivers. But there was a clash between the APC and the PDP. Now, the way the police perform, I'm not sure if are you aware of that scenario?
Well, I know that there's this secretariat they are fighting about. Are you talking about that?
Yes.
Anyway, you now know that the governor was PDP, now it's ACP. So maybe if the commissioner of police does well, with due respect to some of them, or let me say few of them, they can look at issues, and that is why I'm a bit disturbed that this current IG, who I rate high, at least for dismantling roadblock, he has done that. Though some of them
doesn't that mean that even in the light of what's going on, the police can indeed be neutral?
They can.
No matter whose ox is going.
Professionalism. And that is where the control and management of police comes in. In the first instance, no governor.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. But then we saw the police just coming. But as at the time we filed this report, there was no case of, was there any case of violence? I'm not sure about that. So here, lots of people said, look, they were able to just ensure that things did not go out of hand. And hence, I came asking, the police can be neutral.
They can. In fact, they are trained to be neutral. But at the same time, in Nigeria, police globally are trained to be neutral. But in Nigeria, they are not. Why is that? Election has become, in fact, a terrible thing, where you must control all machineries of violence and counter-violence. And that is where the problem is. So a commissioner, the same Ombu that is being alleged to be wicked boy, if the thing changes now and is transferred to another state, we will be surprised that he may be supporting governor of opposition party in that state against the party he was supporting, and if the price is okay.
All right, so
that's where the problem is.
I'd like to thank you for coming on, Adeola Soetan, who is of the Grassroots Watch, speaking about this police activities concerning protests.